The stars were cold and empty that night. Tae-ho sat alone in his small cargo ship, eating rice from a metal bowl. His ship was old. The walls made strange sounds. The engine worked, but just barely. He had been flying through space for 3 years now, carrying goods from one planet to another. It was not exciting work, but it was honest. Tai-ho was a simple man. He came from Earth, from a small town near the mountains. He had no family left, no wife, no children, just his ship and the endless black sky. He liked it that way. No problems, no drama, just him and the stars. His computer made a sound, a warning. Something was nearby. Tae-ho put down his bowl and walked to the control room. The screen showed a small object floating in space. It was an escape pod, very damaged. Fire marks covered its surface. Someone had been in a fight. He checked his location, the outer rim. This was a dangerous area. Pirates lived here, criminals, people who would kill you for your shoes. Smart pilots avoided this place, but Tae-ho had taken a shortcut to save fuel. Now he was looking at a broken escape pod in the middle of nowhere. The computer scanned the pod. One life form inside, still alive, but weak. Tae-ho thought about it. He could fly away. It was the safe choice, the smart choice. But then he thought about the person inside that pod, alone, hurt, waiting for death in the cold darkness of space. He could not do it. He could not leave someone to die. He brought the pod into his cargo area. The metal was hot to touch. Whatever happened to this person, it was bad. Very bad. He used his tools to open the door. Smoke came out. He waved it away and looked inside. His heart stopped. It was a girl. Young, maybe 20 years old by human counting. But she was not human. Her skin was pale like moonlight. Her hair was silver and long, reaching past her waist. And on her back, folded tight against her body, were wings. Real wings, covered in scales that shined like diamonds. A dragon. She was a dragon shifter. Tae-ho had heard stories about them. Everyone had. The dragon shifters were an ancient race. Powerful. Dangerous. They could change between human form and dragon form whenever they wanted. Their fire could melt starships. Their claws could cut through anything. Most species feared them. Some worshipped them. All of them respected them. And now one was bleeding on the floor of his cargo ship. The girl opened her eyes. They were gold, like liquid sunshine. She looked at Tae-ho with fear and confusion. "Please," she whispered. Her voice was weak. "Please do not hurt me." Tae-ho kneeled down next to her. He could see her wounds now, burns on her arms, a deep cut on her side. She had been tortured. Someone had done terrible things to her. "I will not hurt you," he said softly. "I am going to help you. Can you walk?" She shook her head. She was too weak. Tae-ho picked her up carefully. She was lighter than he expected. He carried her to his small medical room. It was not much, just a bed and some basic supplies. But it would have to do. He worked for hours. He cleaned her wounds. He used medicine on her burns. He stitched the cut on her side. She passed out from the pain, which was probably better. He did not want her to suffer more than she already had. When he finished, he sat in a chair next to her bed. He was tired. His hands were covered in her blood, blue blood. He had not known that dragon blood was blue. The girl slept for 2 days. During that time, Tae-ho kept his ship moving. He did not know who had hurt her, but he did not want them to find him. He flew in random directions, hiding among asteroid fields and gas clouds. He was careful. He was smart. On the 3rd day, she woke up. Tae-ho was cooking soup when he heard movement. He walked to the medical room and found her sitting up in bed. She looked better. Her wounds were healing fast, much faster than a human would heal. "You are awake," he said. "How do you feel?" She looked at him with those golden eyes. There was something different in them now. Suspicion. Why did you help me? She asked. Tae-ho shrugged. You needed help. I am a dragon, she said. Humans fear my kind. They hate us. They hunt us. Some humans do bad things, Tae-ho agreed. But not all of us. I saw someone in trouble. I helped. That is all. She stared at him for a long moment. She was trying to understand him, trying to find the lie, but there was no lie. Tae-ho was telling the truth. My name is Yuna, she said finally. I am Tae-ho. Are you hungry? I made soup. Yuna blinked. She had expected many things. Questions, demands, threats. She had not expected soup. Yes, she said. I am hungry. Tae-ho brought her a bowl. She ate slowly at first, then faster. She had not eaten in days, maybe weeks. He gave her more. She ate that too. This is good, she said. Thank you. My mother taught me how to cook. They sat in silence for a while. Yuna finished her soup and looked at the small room around her, the old walls, the flickering lights, the cheap medical equipment. This was not a rich man's ship. You are a cargo pilot, she said. It was not a question. Yes. You could sell me, she said quietly. Dragon blood is valuable. My scales are worth more than this ship, more than 100 ships. You could be rich. Tae-ho looked at her. His face showed no greed, no interest, just simple kindness. I do not want to be rich, he said. I just want to live a quiet life. And I think you want to live too. So rest. Get strong. When you are ready, I will take you wherever you want to go. Yuna did not know what to say. In her whole life, no one had ever helped her without wanting something in return. Not her father, not her guards, not anyone. But this human, this simple cargo pilot with his old ship and his homemade soup expected nothing. She felt something strange in her chest, something warm. She did not know what it was yet, but she would learn. Thank you, Tae-ho, she said. He smiled. It was a kind smile, a real smile. You are welcome, Yuna. Now get some sleep. You need rest. He walked out of the room, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Outside the window, the stars continued to shine, cold and distant. But for the first time in a long time, Yuna did not feel cold. She felt warm, and it was because of a human. 3 days passed on the small cargo ship. Yuna grew stronger with each passing hour. Her wounds closed. Her burns faded. Her body was healing itself, as dragon bodies always did. But her mind was still troubled. She watched Tae-ho carefully, waiting for him to show his true nature, waiting for him to make demands, to ask for payment, to reveal that his kindness was just a trick. But the trick never came. Tae-ho went about his daily work like she was not there. He fixed broken parts of his ship. He cooked simple meals. He read old books on a small screen. Sometimes he talked to her about small things. The weather on different planets. The best places to buy cheap fuel. Stories about strange creatures he had seen during his travels. He never asked about her past. He never asked why she was running. Yuna could not understand him. On the 4th night, she finally spoke. You have not asked me anything, she said. They were sitting in the small kitchen area. Tae-ho was eating noodles. Yuna was holding a cup of tea. Asked you what? Tae-ho said. Anything. Who I am. Where I came from. Why I was in that escape pod. Tae-ho put down his chopsticks. He looked at her with his calm brown eyes. I thought you would tell me when you were ready, he said, or not tell me at all. It is your business, not mine. Yuna's hands tightened around her cup. This man made no sense to her. In her world, everyone wanted something. Information was power, secrets were weapons. No one respected privacy, no one respected boundaries. I am a princess, she said suddenly. Tae-ho raised his eyebrows, but said nothing. My father is the Dragon Emperor. He rules over 12 star systems. Millions of my people live under his command. We are powerful, ancient. We have existed for 10,000 years. She paused. The words felt heavy in her mouth. My father is also a monster. Tae-ho listened in silence. He believes that dragons are the superior race, Yuna continued. He believes we should rule over all other species. He makes treaties with other empires, but only to use them. He takes what he wants. He destroys what he does not need. And he uses his own children as tools. Her voice became bitter. I have 7 brothers and sisters. We were raised to be weapons, to marry for political power, to spy, to kill. My oldest brother murdered our mother when he was 16. My father ordered him to do it. She had become too soft, he said, too weak, too human. Tae-ho's face showed sadness, deep sadness. Not for himself, for her. I tried to be what he wanted, Yuna said. For 200 years I tried. I followed his orders. I did terrible things. I hurt innocent people. I told myself it was necessary, that I had no choice. But one day, I found something that changed everything. She looked out the window at the stars. A human colony, a small planet called Haven. My father ordered me to burn it, kill everyone, take the resources, leave nothing behind. Her golden eyes filled with tears. I went there. I saw them. Families, children, old people. They were not soldiers. They were not threats. They were just people trying to live. They had built homes, schools, gardens. They had built a life. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I could not do it. I told my father I would not follow his order. He was furious. He called me a traitor. He said I had been corrupted by human weakness. He sent his soldiers to capture me, to bring me back, to make an example of me. The escape pod, Tae-ho said quietly. Yes, I fought my way out. I stole a ship. They shot me down. I managed to get to the escape pod before the ship exploded. I drifted for 3 days. I thought I would die. Then you found me. Silence filled the room. Yuna waited for Tae-ho's reaction. Would he be afraid now? Would he realize how dangerous she was? Would he throw her off his ship? Tae-ho stood up. He walked to the counter and picked up a small pot. He walked back to Yuna and poured more tea into her cup. You must have been very scared, he said. Yuna stared at him. What? Alone in space, hurt, running from your own family. That must have been very scary. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. She had expected many reactions, judgment, fear, anger. She had not expected sympathy. Yes, she finally said. I was scared. Tae-ho sat back down. He picked up his chopsticks and continued eating his noodles. My mother always said that the bravest thing a person can do is stand up for what is right, even when everyone else is against them, even when it costs you everything. I think you did a brave thing, Yuna. I am not brave, she said. I am weak. A real dragon would have followed orders. A real dragon would not have felt sympathy for humans. Then maybe real dragons have something to learn, Tae-ho said simply. Yuna felt something break inside her chest. Not in a bad way, in a good way, like a wall falling down, like a prison door opening. For 200 years, she had carried the weight of her father's expectations, the guilt of her actions, the shame of her feelings. And now this simple human was telling her that her feelings were not weakness. They were strength. You are strange, she said. Her voice was shaking. I have been told that before, Tae-ho smiled. Do you not understand? If my father finds me, he will kill you. He will destroy your ship. He will burn everything you love. He is coming for me. He will never stop. Tae-ho thought about this. He finished his noodles and put down the bowl. Then we should probably keep moving, he said. That is it? That is your response? What do you want me to say? I want you to be angry. I want you to throw me off your ship. I have put your life in danger. You should hate me. Tae-ho looked at her. His eyes were calm, peaceful. There was no fear in them, no anger. Yuna, I have lived a quiet life. I have traveled alone for 3 years. I have seen beautiful things and terrible things. I have learned that life is short and unpredictable. We do not choose our families. We do not choose where we are born, but we can choose who we help. We can choose to be kind. He reached across the table and gently touched her hand. You chose to spare those humans. You chose to be kind. Now I am choosing to help you. That is how the universe works. Kindness creates more kindness, even in the darkest places. Yuna could not hold back her tears anymore. They fell down her cheeks like silver rain. She had cried before, but always in secret, always in shame. This time, she cried openly, in front of a human, in front of someone who saw her not as a princess or a weapon or a traitor, but as a person. "Thank you," she whispered. Taeho smiled and handed her a napkin. "You are welcome. Now dry your eyes. I am going to make us some more tea. Then we can plan where to go next." Together. Together. Such a simple word. But to Yuna, it meant everything. For the first time in 200 years, she was not alone. The alarm woke Taeho from a deep sleep. Red lights flashed. A loud sound filled the ship. He jumped out of bed and ran to the control room. Yuna was already there, her face pale with fear. "They found us," she said. Taeho looked at the screen. His heart sank. There were 5 ships surrounding them, big ships, warships. Each one was 100 times larger than his little cargo vessel. Their hulls were black as night, covered in golden symbols that burned like fire. Dragon ships, the symbol of the Dragon Empire. "How?" Taeho asked. "My blood," Yuna said. "I should have known. Dragon blood can be tracked across great distances. My father must have used a blood trace. I am so sorry, Taeho. This is my fault." Before Taeho could respond, the communication system crackled to life. A deep voice filled the room. It was cold, powerful. It made Yuna tremble. "This is Commander Dae Sung of the Dragon Imperial Fleet. You are carrying stolen property of the Dragon Empire. Surrender the princess immediately. If you cooperate, you will be allowed to leave. If you resist, you will be destroyed." Taeho looked at Yuna. She was shaking. Her golden eyes were wide with terror. "I will go," she said. "I will not let you die for me." "No," Taeho said. "You do not understand. Dae Sung is my oldest brother, the one who killed our mother. He is cruel beyond measure. He enjoys pain. He enjoys death. If you resist, he will not just kill you. He will make you suffer." "I said no." Yuna grabbed his arm. Her grip was strong, desperate. "Why? Why would you risk your life for me? I am nothing to you. We met 4 days ago. This makes no sense." Taeho gently removed her hand. He walked to the communication panel and pressed the button to respond. "This is Taeho of the cargo ship Morning Star. I hear your message, Commander, but I must refuse your request." Silence. Then laughter. Cold, cruel laughter from the speakers. "Refuse? A human refuses? Do you know who you are speaking to, little creature?" "I know who you are," Taeho said. His voice was calm and steady. "You are a man who hurts innocent people. You are a man who serves a tyrant. You are a man who killed his own mother." The laughter stopped. "You dare speak to me like this?" "I dare speak the truth. Princess Yuna is under my protection. She asked for my help, and I gave it. I will not hand her over to be tortured. I will not hand her over to be killed. She is a person, not property, and humans do not abandon those in need." Yuna stared at Taeho. She could not believe what she was hearing. This simple cargo pilot, with his old ship and his worn clothes, was standing up to the Dragon Empire. He was standing up to her brother. He was standing up to death itself. "You are either very brave or very stupid," Dae Sung said. "Maybe both," Taeho replied. "But my answer is still no." Another silence. Then Dae-sung spoke again. His voice was different now, interested, curious. I have destroyed entire planets, human. I have burned civilizations to ash. I have killed millions without hesitation. And you think your little cargo ship can stand against me? No, Tae-ho said. I know I cannot win. Your ships are bigger, your weapons are stronger, you could destroy me in seconds, but I will still say no, because some things are more important than survival. Honor is more important, kindness is more important, doing the right thing is more important. Tae-ho leaned closer to the microphone. And I want you to know something, Commander. I want the entire galaxy to know. I am broadcasting this conversation on all open channels. Every ship, every station, every planet within range can hear us right now. On the dragon ships, Dae-sung checked his systems. The human was telling the truth. The conversation was being transmitted everywhere. Millions of beings across the sector were listening. You think witnesses will save you? Dae-sung growled. No, but they will remember. They will remember that a human stood up to the Dragon Empire. They will remember that one person chose kindness over fear. Even if you kill me, you cannot kill that memory. It will spread. It will inspire others. And one day your empire will fall, not because of weapons, not because of war, but because the galaxy will see that there is another way, a better way. Yuna was crying. She walked to Tae-ho and stood beside him. I will stand with him, she said into the microphone. I am Princess Yuna of the Dragon Empire, and I reject my father. I reject his cruelty. I reject his hatred. This human has shown me more kindness in 4 days than my family showed me in 200 years. If you want to kill me, you will have to kill me standing next to him. Across the sector, beings of all species listened to the broadcast. On space stations, on transport ships, on distant planets. They heard the human and the dragon princess. They heard courage. They heard defiance. They heard something they had never heard before. Hope. On his ship, Dae-sung sat in his command chair. His officers were watching him. His soldiers were waiting for orders. The protocol was clear. Destroy the human ship. Capture the princess. Follow the emperor's command. But something was wrong. Dae-sung had killed many people. He had never hesitated, never questioned. But this human, this weak, fragile, insignificant human, was not afraid. He was going to die, and he was not afraid. He was choosing to die rather than betray someone he had known for only 4 days. Dae-sung did not understand. Commander, one of his officers said. Your orders? Dae-sung stared at the small cargo ship on his screen. So tiny, so helpless. One command and it would be gone. Commander, Dae-sung raised his hand to give the order, and then his sensors went wild. Something was happening on the cargo ship. Energy readings were spiking. Power levels were increasing beyond anything they had ever seen. The dragon soldiers looked at their screens in confusion. Inside the cargo ship, Yuna was glowing. Her body was surrounded by golden light. Her eyes burned like twin suns. Her silver hair floated around her head like a crown of starlight. The small wounds on her body vanished completely. Her skin seemed to shine from within. Yuna? Tae-ho said, stepping back. She looked at him. Her face was changing, becoming longer, more powerful. Scales were appearing on her cheeks, her arms, her neck, beautiful scales that sparkled like diamonds. You showed me kindness, she said. Her voice was different now, deeper, echoing, like thunder across mountains. You showed me that not all beings are cruel. You reminded me who I truly am. The cargo ship began to shake. I am not just a princess, Yuna said. I am a dragon, and dragons protect those they love. Light exploded from her body. The walls of the cargo ship bent outward. The metal groaned, and in a burst of impossible energy, Yuna transformed. Where the princess had stood, there was now a dragon, A true dragon. She was immense, her body stretched beyond the size of the cargo ship, which somehow expanded around her like it was made of dreams. Her wings spread wide, each one longer than a warship. Her scales glowed with inner fire. Her eyes were golden galaxies. Her claws could tear through steel like paper, and around Taeho's ship a shield of ancient fire appeared. It burned with colors that had no name, colors from the beginning of time, colors that no weapon could pierce. Dae-sung stared at his screen. His mouth was open, his hands were frozen. "Impossible," he whispered. "She has awakened her true form. That has not happened in 1,000 years." His soldiers were retreating. His ships were backing away. They were afraid. Everyone was afraid, except Tae-ho. He looked at the magnificent dragon that had once been a wounded girl in an escape pod. He should have been terrified. He should have run. Instead, he smiled. "That is amazing," he said. And across the galaxy, everyone who was listening agreed. The dragon that was Yuna floated in space. Her massive body wrapped around Taeho's tiny ship like a mother protecting her child. Her wings spread across the darkness, blocking out the stars. Her scales reflected the light of distant suns, creating rainbows in the void. She was beautiful. She was terrifying. She was power beyond imagination. On the dragon warships, soldiers ran in panic. Officers shouted orders that no one followed. Alarms screamed. Weapons powered up, then powered down, then powered up again. No one knew what to do. No one had ever seen anything like this. Dae-sung sat frozen in his command chair. His eyes were fixed on the creature before him, his sister, his weak, pathetic, soft-hearted sister. She had always been the disappointment of the family, the failure, the one who felt too much and killed too little. Their father had said she would never amount to anything. Their father had been wrong. "All ships fire," Dae-sung commanded. His voice was shaking. His officers hesitated. "Fire!" The warships unleashed their weapons: plasma beams, energy missiles, graviton bombs, the most destructive weapons in the Dragon Empire's arsenal. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon, all of it aimed at Yuna and the tiny cargo ship she protected. The weapons hit the shield of ancient fire and vanished. They did not explode. They did not bounce back. They simply stopped existing. The fire around Yuna consumed them like a hungry beast, absorbing their energy without a ripple. Silence fell across the battlefield. Yuna opened her mouth. Not to attack, to speak. Her voice echoed through space, reaching every ship, every station, every planet that was listening to the broadcast. It was the voice of something old, something powerful, something that had existed before the stars were born. "I am Yuna of the dragon blood, daughter of the Empire, child of the first flame, and I have awakened." The words hit the listeners like a physical force. Even Tae-ho, protected inside the shield, felt them vibrate in his bones. "For 200 years I slept. I followed orders. I hurt innocent beings. I believed that cruelty was strength. I believed that power meant destroying others. I was wrong." She turned her massive head toward the warships. Her golden eyes focused on her brother's vessel. "This human showed me the truth. He found me broken and dying. He could have sold me. He could have left me. He could have used me. Instead, he fed me soup and asked for nothing. He treated me like a person when my own family treated me like a weapon." The dragon fleet was trembling, not from weapons, from fear. "That is real strength," Yuna continued. "Not armies, not warships, not fire that burns worlds. Real strength is choosing kindness when cruelty would be easier. Real strength is helping strangers who cannot help you back. Real strength is standing against evil even when you know you will lose." She moved closer to Dae-sung's ship. Her massive form blocked out everything else. "Brother, you killed our mother because father ordered it. You destroyed planets because father ordered it. You have never made a choice of your own. You think you are powerful, but you are nothing. You are a tool, a puppet. An empty shell that follows commands. Daesung's hands were gripping his chair so hard that his knuckles were white. I am giving you a choice now, Yuna said. Leave this place. Go back to father. Tell him what you saw today. Tell him that his lost daughter has found something worth protecting. Tell him that if he comes for the human, he will face me. You cannot defeat the entire empire, Daesung said. His voice came through the speakers, but it sounded small, weak. Father has 1,000 ships, 1,000,000 soldiers. You are one dragon. I am not alone, Yuna replied. She glanced back at the small cargo ship behind her, at the human standing at the window, watching her with wonder and trust. I have something you have never had, brother. I have someone who believes in me, not because I am powerful, not because I am useful, but because I chose to be kind. That is worth more than all of Father's armies. Daesung did not respond. What could he say? His weapons were useless. His fleet was terrified. And his sister, the family disappointment, had become something beyond his understanding. Go, Yuna said. It was not a request. It was a command. Go now, and I will let you live. Stay, and I will show you what real dragon fire looks like. Daesung looked at his officers. They were pale with fear. Some of them were crying. None of them wanted to fight. None of them wanted to die. For the first time in his life, Daesung retreated. All ships, he said quietly. Withdraw. The dragon fleet turned around. Their engines fired. One by one, they jumped into faster-than-light speed and disappeared into the darkness. In moments, the space around Taeho's ship was empty again. Just stars. Just silence. Just a human and a dragon. Yuna floated in the void for a long moment. Her golden eyes watched until the last ship was gone. Then slowly, her body began to change. The scales faded, the wings folded, the massive form shrank. Light swirled around her like a cocoon, and when it cleared, she was a girl again. Pale skin, silver hair, golden eyes, floating in space without a suit. Taeho opened the cargo door. Air did not escape. The shield was still protecting the ship. He reached out his hand. Come inside, he said. It is cold out there. Yuna took his hand. Her fingers were warm. She floated through the door and landed on the cargo floor. The shield disappeared. The world returned to normal. They stood facing each other, human and dragon, pilot and princess. Two people who should have been strangers, but had become something more. That was incredible, Taeho said. Yuna laughed. It was a tired laugh, but a real one. I did not know I could do that, she admitted. The ancient texts say that a dragon can only reach true awakening through a connection with a pure heart. I always thought it was a myth. A pure heart? Taeho scratched his head. I am just a cargo pilot. No, Yuna said softly. You are much more than that. You are the kindest person I have ever met. You saw a monster and treated her like a friend. You faced an empire and refused to back down. That is not just bravery. That is something special, something rare. She stepped closer to him. In my culture, when a dragon finds someone worthy of protection, they bond with them for life. They become guardians, defenders, partners. She placed her hand on his chest over his heart. I want to bond with you, Taeho. I want to stay with you, not as a princess, not as a weapon, but as a friend. If you will have me. Taeho looked at her. This beautiful, powerful, ancient being was asking to stay with him. A simple cargo pilot with an old ship and no family. It should have seemed ridiculous. Instead, it felt right. I would like that, he said. Yuna smiled. It was the most genuine smile she had ever made. For 200 years, she had lived in fear and anger and shame. Now, standing in a cramped cargo ship with a human who had saved her life, she felt something she had never felt before. Peace. "Then it is done," she said. "From this day forward, I am your guardian, your protector, your partner. Wherever you go, I will follow. Whatever dangers you face, I will face them with you." Taeho smiled back. "In that case, I hope you like flying through boring trade routes and eating cheap noodles." Yuna laughed again. This time it was a full laugh. A happy laugh. "I think I will learn to enjoy it," she said. Outside the ship, the stars continued to shine. The galaxy continued to turn. But something had changed, something important. A human and a dragon had formed a bond that would echo through history. And across the sector, millions of beings had witnessed it. They had heard a human stand against tyranny. They had seen a dragon choose love over power. They had watched impossible courage from the most unlikely heroes. The story was just beginning. But already, it was becoming legend. Word spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. Every station, every planet, every ship. Everyone was talking about what had happened in the Outer Rim. A human cargo pilot had defied the Dragon Empire. He had protected a dragon princess with nothing but kindness and courage. And she had transformed into something magnificent, something legendary, something that had not been seen in 1,000 years. The story reached human colonies first. People gathered around screens to watch the recording. They saw Taeho standing at his communication panel, his voice calm and steady. They heard him say those words that would become famous across the stars. She asked for help. Humans do not abandon those in need. Fathers played the recording for their children. Teachers played it in schools. Soldiers played it in barracks. It became an anthem, a reminder, a promise of what humanity could be at its best. But the story did not stop with humans. Other species listened too. Beings who had been conquered by the Dragon Empire. Beings who had lived in fear for generations. They heard a human stand against their oppressors. They heard a dragon princess reject her father's cruelty. And for the first time, they believed that change was possible. On the planet Eris 4, a young worker named Somi watched the broadcast with tears in her eyes. Her people had been slaves to the Dragon Empire for 300 years. They worked in mines. They lived in camps. They had forgotten what freedom felt like. But when she heard Taeho's words, something woke inside her. "Humans do not abandon those in need," she whispered. She looked at the other workers around her. They were watching too. Their eyes were different. There was something in them that had not been there before. Hope. On the space station Horizon, a council of alien leaders met in secret. Representatives from a dozen conquered worlds sat around a table. They had been planning a resistance for years, but they had never had enough support. They had never had a symbol to unite them. Now they did. "The human showed us something," the council leader said. He was an old creature with 4 arms and blue skin. "He showed us that one person can make a difference. If a single cargo pilot can stand against the Dragon Emperor, then so can we." The representatives nodded. Plans were made. Messages were sent. The rebellion was beginning. Far away, on the dragon homeworld, the Emperor sat on his throne of black stone. His name was feared across 12 star systems. His power was absolute. His word was law. For 500 years he had ruled with fire and blood, crushing anyone who opposed him. Now he was afraid. His daughter had awakened her true form. That had not happened since the ancient times, since the days when dragons were gods and the universe trembled at their wings. The texts said that a fully awakened dragon could challenge even an emperor, could reshape the balance of power, could start a war that would burn across the stars. And his daughter had awakened because of a human. A human. The emperor did not understand. He had spent his life believing that other species were inferior, weak, worthless. They existed only to serve the dragon race. How could one of them possess the power to awaken a dragon's true form? How could a simple cargo pilot change the course of history? "What are your orders, Father?" Daesung asked. He was kneeling before the throne, still shaken from his encounter with Yuna. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. "Watch them," he finally said. "Do not attack. Not yet. I want to understand this human. I want to know his weakness. Then we will strike." Back on the cargo ship, Taeho and Yuna continued their journey through the stars. They did not know about the rebellion forming in their name. They did not know about the Emperor's plans. They just traveled from planet to planet, carrying goods, meeting people, and living their simple life. But nothing was really simple anymore. Everywhere they went, people recognized them. At space stations, workers would stop and stare. At trading posts, merchants would give them free food. At fuel depots, operators would refuse payment. Taeho found it strange and uncomfortable. He had not done anything special. He had just helped someone who needed help. Yuna understood better. "You gave them something they did not have before," she told him one night. They were sitting in the kitchen drinking tea and watching the stars through the window. "You gave them an example, a story, something to believe in." "I am not a hero," Taeho said. "I am just me." Yuna smiled and took his hand. "That is exactly why you are a hero. You did not try to be special. You did not want fame or power. You just did what was right. That is what makes you different from my father, from my brother, from everyone who has ever ruled through fear." Taeho looked at their joined hands, his rough, human hand, her smooth, pale hand, so different, so perfectly connected. "What happens now?" he asked. "I do not know," Yuna admitted. "My father will not stop. He cannot let this challenge go unanswered. He will come for us eventually. Then we will face him together." Yuna's eyes softened. "You are not afraid?" "Of course I am afraid. I am terrified. But being afraid does not mean I will run. It just means I know what I am facing." She moved closer to him, resting her head on his shoulder. "In my 200 years of life, I have met emperors and generals and warriors of legend. None of them were as strong as you." Taeho laughed softly. "I think you need to meet more humans." "Maybe I will. Maybe we should visit Earth someday. I would like to see where you came from." "Earth is nice. Mountains, rivers, lots of people. You would like it." "Then that is where we will go, after all this is over. When we are free." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. The universe stretched out before them, vast and beautiful and dangerous. Wars were coming, empires would rise and fall. History was being written in real time. But in that moment, none of it mattered. In that moment, there was just a human and a dragon sharing tea in a cramped kitchen on an old cargo ship. Two souls who had found each other in the darkness. Two hearts that had chosen kindness over power. Across the galaxy, the legend of Taeho and Yuna grew. Songs were written about them, stories were told. Children played games where they pretended to be the brave human and the awakened dragon. Rebels used their image as a symbol of hope. Tyrants used their story as a warning. But Taeho and Yuna did not think about any of that. They just lived their lives. They helped people when they could. They ran from danger when they had to. They ate cheap noodles and drank weak tea and laughed at bad jokes. They were happy. One day the war would come. One day they would have to face the Emperor and all his armies. One day the galaxy would burn, and they would stand in the center of the fire. But that day was not today. Today the stars were bright. The ship was warm. And somewhere in the endless darkness of space, a human and a dragon were proving that the universe was not as cold as it seemed. Because wherever there was kindness, there was light. And that light would never go out. Not as long as there were people willing to help strangers in need. Not as long as there were humans. The story of Taeho and Yuna did not end there. It was just the beginning. There would be battles and sacrifices and moments of despair. There would be friends made and friends lost. There would be triumph and tragedy and everything in between. But through it all, one truth remained. A human had helped a dragon girl in need. And what happened next left everyone speechless. Not because of the power, not because of the transformation, but because of the kindness. The simple, beautiful, world-changing kindness. That was the real story, and it would echo through the stars forever.